Okay, we gotta do a long stream today, and it's a new game. The issue I've had, if you're playing Baldur's Gate 3, make sure you keep somebody that has like that feather fall or whatever ability. Because to advance in the game to the Underdark, you need to jump down a long, long way, and it's going to kill you and your entire team unless you have it. Now, I have, and the game is glitched. At some point, killed off a demon. I killed off the rogue. Just in general, most of the party I've had has been permadeath for being stupid at one point or another. And now the game is. This is a Monday. I can't even get to the load screen. But I got to the point where I need that ability to slowly fall so we don't all die and I can continue. Turns out I had wiped out every possible way to do it. And because unlike other games, you can't just go and find groups to grind against to level up and gain the ability, because I already killed everybody in the area. I am stuck starting over because there's not a way to fix it, and that kind of pisses me off. And now this game has glitched and I can't get to a load screen. Hmm. Yep, it's Monday. Started out by also going out to breakfast with somebody. Get to the restaurant and find out they are now closed on Mondays. Go to a different restaurant. Get to that restaurant. Okay. To exchange some concert tickets. After trying multiple times through email and text, and I finally look up the radio station website where the tickets came from, and it very clearly says these tickets cannot be transferred. Okay, so I'm strike one on a restaurant. I am strike two on transferring concert tickets. I'm strike three because I have to restart this game. So we're starting out great for a Monday. And I was really liking the character. I'd spent a lot of time on it. But something we can do differently this time is instead of running it as Barbarian again, which really was a lot of fun once I got that demon's main weapon, I can go ahead and re-roll as a Warlock, which is what I tried to do the first time I played the game. But I didn't understand the game enough, so Warlock just wasn't working for me. Now that I have a better idea, I can play Warlock, spec him right, level him right. So basically, keep somebody around that can float. Because unlike what Pennywise said, no, everybody does not float down here. Oh, by the way, R.I.P. Bob Barker. You should have never left Price is Right. Alright, let's start by making a character again. And guys, I'm not overly talkative. I was at Renfest yesterday, so I am beat. And my throat is torn up from a whole bunch of singing and stuff. So you'll probably hear the TV on in the background, but I'll answer stuff I see pop up. But we're probably looking at 3-4 hours today at least, especially if I really get into a groove. Alright, character wise. I will eventually play the Dark Urge. Because I love the fact they gave this as a character. But for now, we're doing custom. Race. We thinking Dragonborn again? I do love the look of the aesthetics of Dragonborn. Um, and what's going on with the phone? Okay. So, I love magic missiles, but I heard that with Warlock, Eldritch Blast will eventually become stronger than Magic Missiles and more useful, but I do like how Magic Missiles doesn't miss. But so we are going to go Tiefling this time. Hmm. You come with Reduced Flame. I didn't use Magic Hand the entire time through the game. I will definitely go Asmodeus. That Produce Flame's going to be helpful. Okay, so we're going Warlock. Cantrips. Eldritch Blast is a given. And Bone Chill. Because I come across the occasional guys that last playthrough. Fucker started healing, and it just wiped me out. Subclass. I get 10 hit points when I kill something. Whisper. Frighten a creature, leaves your hit. Hideous Laughter. Crowd control? Land the crit against the creature in your right will succeed wisdom saving throw, or become frightened. Charm or frighten nearby foes with beguiling, disturbing magic, fairy fire. All targets are light, turn invisible. Ooh. Advantage on attack rolls. And sleep. I think this will be a good crowd control one. And then spells. Oh, Hellish Rebuke. I've learned that was very good. One D12 lightning. Okay. Background, acolytes. Tiefling's part demon, so I think acolyte's a good choice. Hmm. You're gonna throw another one into. Can I not? Is that max? Wisdom? I don't need a lot of strength, but I can't drop it any lower. Change skill proficiencies. Arcana I want. Intimidation will be nice. If it is a lock, I'm gonna go Deception. All right. Confirm. Edit appearance. Elise Miller following. It's gonna be like a 4-hour stream because I'm starting over because I screwed up enough the first time through. Non-binary other. That's interesting. They put that in the game. Now roll mail. Face. Body art. I like that because it gives me the appearance of a whole bunch of runes, demonic writings. Eyes. I do love doing eyes in these things. Demonic purple too. Makeup, don't care. Hair. I like that one. Longer hair off to the side. Facial hair. What is something similar to mine? Horns. Hmm. What name are we gonna do for this run through? Hmm. Always difficult part of a game like this. Fenrir. I am a Yu-Gi-Oh player, and Fenrir is a card that is insane. I don't care about the Guardian. All right. Now the joy of this is I don't have to get that boss's sword. Send me something on Discord. Damaged potato or Fourth Horseman 81 at Instagram. But like I was saying, since I'm not running anything that can use the big guy's sword, I'm not gonna deal with trying to kill him or making him drop it. I'm just gonna speed through this because we've all seen this opening section. Fourth Horseman 81 is the Instagram. I'm running off one screen right now, so that's not an option. Okay, just let me know it's you. Okay, let's go get the brain because the brain's useful. Fried brain from Skull. Almost in that 20. What do you guys binge watch or have playing in the background when you do this stuff? I'm doing more Hell's Kitchen today. Killing the final boss in this level will get you a decent amount of experience points, but it's almost not worth it because it's going to take so many run through, so much time, so many attempts. Ah, my goal: play a few hours today. Hopefully, get my team to level 3 or 4. Hopefully, get close to pop back up where I was before everybody died. Hmm. Slave Mines. Get that rune. Leave that alone. Hmm. I think this time I'm gonna grab some of those purple bombs and try to keep them, not just for the bosses. Because eventually, when I have to take on that Goblin City, it's gonna be a pain in the ass, and those explosives will help. It's just nice knowing I can speed through a bunch of this because I've already done it once or 10 times, and most you've already seen it. That's a wares. Hellbore, take 7. Hmm. We'll heal you. Ellis Designs, okay? After I finish my play today, I will take a look at it. No problem. Let's cast that on him. Yeah, I'll shoot the guy. 150 health when you start with 10. Spellbook, Shadowheart. Can't do this during combat. Good to know. Eldritch West. All right. Racially free. This part. I know I gotta go pick up the sorcerer. Oh. And the rogue before I try to break into that building. Otherwise, I am way too outnumbered. Oh. If I'm gonna play, I might as well stretch out. Ow. What's frustrating is the fact that I want to keep hitting escape to get through these cutscenes, but that takes escape doesn't do it. Spacebar does. Hmm.
I'm back at the junction from Whitehouse Station, New Jersey. This restaurant is known for three things: fast food, rocking decor, and I know that. I'm going to stop on this side of Mississippi. We'll make a lot of changes. I'm dying to find out. Successful. Up next, Sparks Fly. When Gordon and the Delts based off the games have not changed one little bit. Then you're one back to the lead. Burns up over. Took his frustration out on his staff. So let me get him all. Chicken Millie's best one. Don't push it well. And infuriating Chef Randy. I need to jump. Now you're later. We're about to find out if it's gone boom or bust. Kitchen nightmare new business. Chucks. Rules flying combined with that.
New fruit of critical action has clinically tested toxic collagen to help keep you moving with higher mobility, flexibility, and comfort. Joint bone and cartilage support all in one tiny pill. New fruit. Joint health starts today.
Chef Ramsay is MLS. Something little fight. Get quiet. Get this restaurant on track. It's all right, baby. Now 1 year later, he jumps planks. That's all I said. Tell the other certainly can't be stepped away. There was some food, when watching that's all, she didn't want to change a thing. Finally, she accepted it. I'll back out and see if they change this place into a big success. Success? Oh, how are you? How are you? You need to
Oh my God. He's brave enough to come back here. Gee,
you're clean.
Well, all right.
Sit. You know that.
still saying,
Yeah, seriously. You listen to this? I don't know what makes that range. Very good place thinking. So, come on. You need anything out on the schedule? By the time I get back, madam, I want you to do the house. Oh, that's yes? Promise me? I promise. Okay, good.
I lied over her, but what are you gonna do?
Where's the fee?
The queen is in the kitchen.
Hmm. Okay, let's go for the level up.
On boards. Do it. You do it now. My support person to let me do that. Where there? That's still good.
Never again. You say it's gonna work. How stupid can you be? Oh, you
Nice to stop now.
Oh,
Isabel, am I nice to you?
How are you? How are you? Oh, is she nice to you, or not? She has.
Look how better she did.
She's getting a lot better.
After I took how I did come along hard, I tried to walk the time approach the piece.
That was fine, Chef. Where is it?
notifications.
Now. One.
Because Eldritch Blast, your charisma modifier deals damage. Okay.
You have not changed one.
Nice. You can cast False Life on yourself. This guy's self. Repelling Blast. You hit a creature with Eldritch Blast, you can push a creature up. Okay.
I see my restaurant.
Okay, good. What's it?
Yes. No.
Something to see here. How nice is this? Just these one. This is amazing. Listen to the thoughts. Yeah, Miss Bennett. This is still mangoes. What do we do now? Close. Business has been very good. We do double the business. Big difference from when it was flagons. Well, we do have a big that kind of is sex on sex on the bench. What's that? We never had it. Oh, what drink? There. Of course, my mother was her sense of humor. I had to order sex on the beach. What is it? You had some good times, you had some bad times. What was the best time for you? I guess we walked in New York. Evening lunch? What's the worst time for you? We told me Adam loved it. What about the one fall? How could I forget about that? Shepherds? Oh, Joe, where's your God? And to imagine to be different about babies.
Hopefully, I have some better dice rolls than last time I played.
Nice. That's nice. All right. Bill? Wow. It's absolutely delicious. Yeah, I'm ready. So, you guys, it's not peaceful eyes. Scary nose. You look at pretty. Why can't you take that? You know what? You know that's what she's looking for. The guy in my dreams will come up to me and say, "Hey, how you doing? My name's Simone. Are you single?" I'm not your mouth. Hard enough to take out and combine with those parts. Say that's my children. Humble. Humble. That's it. What? No, shooting negative sense that. Okay. What they come to? Honestly, I looked at a difference. Me and myself, he's out to be Nazis. Only. I got right on. I tell her all the time, I should get a medal. Being with you all the time. I say that, but it's close. Like, just in comedy.
Okay, let's go level that one up now. No, 600 points delivered. Yeah. Hmm.
Show and live a good life. But they're a husband, grandchildren. Yeah. Check it like, the same thing that I learned from Forty family. That we have to make the change or else. That's the answer. The rest? Not one time, two more. We definitely work with Stoke in here, this is for language. Absolutely. We need Corbin to come in and save the day. You definitely did that for us. And we can't thank him enough. Wow. She's still a firecracker. But for me, the good news is that now as advice changes. And it looks like the junction is back on track big time. What we should do now, get that 42-year-old daughter.
I should be able to catch up quicker than I thought I would because I have knowledge of the almost knowledge of the first part of the game.
Chef Ramsay back, and he can't believe what he finds. You won't either. That's coming up on Kitchen Nightmares Revisited.
All right, now let's boost him up.
It's a big for New Jersey. He's a break in town, very influence, just hopping out outside New York City. Lots of restaurants everywhere, do really well. And obviously,
Subclass.
the biggest problem was the other four.
This needs to be heated up.
He's a perfect. Just didn't give a damn. You know, yeah, sure, everything. It was like match. Always somebody, always somebody, always somebody. It's why just to diffuse.
Conjuration.
Wow, I want to come in here TV home person. You know, he's telling Sharon, you know, he's that number. If you were a woman, you would have PMS 24/7. Okay? I showed up the first day, ready with scientists and person lunch. No, no lunch. That's ridiculous. An hour later, it's fighting land. Stop it. I mean, I don't see it. The first thing that struck me, dining room.
Okay.
Occupied. Control the sound effects. Little did I know, the sound effects were the best parts. Just down to me. No one for chicken to the song. Chili, plant, chicken, to dry. Any desserts? Search and chef, and dessert chef makes everything. Or you can actually break it out. Alright. Hey. What's that? Oh, he's go to them, call him on that. It's delicious. Oh, it's not bad.
Okay, what do you? Divination. Spells. Definitely magic missile.
And I wasn't nice. It just didn't seem to care.
Featherfall.
I mean, looked atrocious.
That is the ability that I needed that made me restart the entire game.
With salt. That night's dinner service. Yeah. It's full. Oh. Yeah. So let me demo chicken Milanese or pie, which is nothing more than chicken salad in my 12-year-old can do it. Don't push it for I don't put it high enough to yell at me. That's not freaking hot. Why do you have to make it so difficult for? Why? That's not gonna help. These customers are sick. Take my food now. Everyone but food, see. Here is the reason. Procedures. That's not very up. I can like the laws. You have given up. Think I'm happy? I'm miserable. I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. I'm gonna stay in bed. Listen, I'm committed to helping you, and I'm not leaving this place. It's been set. We are going to work this together at certain restaurants. The next day, I'm going to do something to shut them with stars. Open the ears for lunch. Ladies, both you running in front of the house. Call the kid watching Sharon and try to waitress. Oh, everything okay? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Oh, God help me. Why help? Four doing it best. You got 4 bed Sharon, I got 5 more. Oh, then 10. I'm away. That's this. I'm trusting it seems happy for change. Oh my God. No panic. That's it, Boris. Meeting is over moving in the right direction. That nice? Might seem right at the Zoomies. I'm not sure in this face that it's me. Oh, my face. It's full and orange. I love these shots.
There's a lock picking kit. And the rogue has all the bonuses for opening this door.
Got Bill Calamari, the Smith tree, and remain on show. Just like a fresh couple of filled with white beach. After the days, then it's the effect of muscles and flags. Well, is that blaming non-shipment? Yes, it's our budgets and big, look, ridiculous to be a charge.
Let's see what this new menu offers us.
These are the best.
These tables are very important. I mean, I think the thing, you know.
I mean, man, you know, you get people, you have people. One possibility they chefs have is the ability to work in a pressure. Can't handle pressure.
Jesus, how many someone will tickets? I can't do everything myself. Let's just talk. I can say, oh, I'm doing so many things at once.
That goes from fast to worse.
My hell, where's Hal? Where's my food yet? Hal. Where is Hal? No. Oh.
This is disaster. The sous chef Al disappears. And listen to me. I might be gone, but the kitchen is thinking. Let's support one another.
All right, take a deep breath. I'm glad to help.
Champagne. Call us. Go, Sean. Eat the shams of Henry World's art to help say, cheers. Reynolds, crazy.
What are you in?
Right away, life's a success. But let's be honest, I wasn't going to get that not. Now, things asked out shopping. Policy full, we haven't changed enough. Vince Middy, but this can turn around.
I know there's starting to stop. I know that I have to be the leader. It's a responsibility. But
And say all your life is words. But now it's time to do the right things. I'm cute. Jersey just like these. We're not here. I had to work with one of the most defensive chefs I've ever worked with. Now, we made a lot of changes, but I always wondered did it stick? We're about to find out. Oh, coming up. Chef Ramsay's back. But where's the ball? And after this is why I learned so much. The shock answer. His records to this continues. And last, a successful restaurant should have great food. He's not only for chicken and himself, convenient hours. Monday to Thursday, 5 till 9:30. And Brent standing around till after the plan. Jimmy's was overafraid because Cheryl and Paul had given up. Yes, I heard. It was a difficult journey. And Chef Ramsay being called all reasons to succeed. Now, 1 year later, Zini's still on the right path. So I like the Zini's last. Slices yourself right in front of you. See the slice of meat and cheese. It has a rip. Slice right in front of you. It's a Jersey Mike's, a southern mouth. Simmons last year's show pulled every excuse after excuse. I left all the tools to succeed. Now it's time to find out what he did with them. Lunch. It's one thing I told him to do, stay open for lunch. And no, it's not open. I know one person that tell me exactly what's going on. You sure? Gordon Ramsay. Listen, I'm standing outside Virginia's and why don't you go for lunch? What? Can't be good. Yes, have this around. Okay. I was shocked that working problem on the phone. Okay, I'm working on. But now I always say, Dave left the days. When I got Dave, my phone's gonna ring, and it's gonna be more than around on the other end. So you sit me out. person after the show aired. You have a Highline service member. From the day I looked like Patrick's waitress. Sure. Everything okay? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I was late when kids you told making the man. I'm pissed off. He said, I'm out of here. I'll just what's that? I'll just, I wouldn't think so. Right. It's why I'm pushing like that. But you, I was the tip of the and he was nice to my show. So, let me close. You need help. And do that. Okay, so I'm being good. Check it out. Great thing. The truth. Because it's that one. Dating like a mad woman. Day night, that's all they do. Okay, they're not good. They're about 12 months. That's what I've seen. That's not it. When you told me my parrot date with your best.
How come I don't have magic missiles?
Or anything. I'll have to find. Worse is that stupid. Why the kitchen went out. So, wait, why? I wouldn't stand for. If I would stand for it from him either. That's in me. Unless you. Unless traits. Gotcha. It's awesome. I was thrilled, really genuinely thrilled. It's awesome. Yeah, like, love it. You know, shower. This city, rest of the rest of the world, the top issue is that I'm so happy. At the junction, I mean, that's why it nods. Next time on Future Nightmares, when Jeff Ramsey encounters the most insecure owners, he is a mess, not only an all-time analyst, with an incompetent staff, roles, a disgusting kitchen, and a family that is still in the bar. Shut up! So, let's have some of the kitchen. This is one kitchen nightmare, where nothing can take hungry thoughts for all that flashing down. You know, it's time for the floor, it even starts. Now,
That was a miserable failure. Now let's look at why I do not have magic missiles. Yeah, that's the important thing. Oh, shit, she's going to that door. Okay, cool. Second, my guys. So third, my guys. This is starting to piss me off. I'm still exhausted from yesterday. Laying here makes me want to fall asleep. Eldritch Blast. Hmm. I hope eventually I get to add cantrips from other races or other classes to guys I have. So when I can eventually get magic missiles on the same guy as Eldritch Blast, I'll be kind of happy. If you see my head go down, it's because I decided to take a nap. Ooh, I'm definitely gonna be taking a nap today. Hmm. Who the hell's the cry right now? Everybody. It's just not a fun opening part of the game. I think it's because I've done it too many times. Let's open the door. Quick. All right, let's try this again. We need to do the store with all these bonuses. That was pretty easy. Switch back up to him. See, I'm not interested in making a deal or scaring them off because I want the points for the battle. I just want the experience points, so we're just gonna go into a fight. Astaria. Damn. Well, he's starting to move. Good. Okay. Anything here that's useful? Hmm.
99 cents for the sunglasses. Trendy design and exquisite details. Free shipping and free return. Shop on TV now. It's moments like this that keep us moving through life. To enjoy the moments that matter. Take a step in the right direction today with Move Free. Move Free Ultra delivers more than just junk effort. Relax and support. Move Free. Join Health starts today. It was March 25th, 1975, and the
Brazil.
celebratory. Question movie. It was Easter, and families were either planning a fun family day out or an exotic dinner at a local restaurant. It was the same for John and Mary Lyon, a couple who had four beautiful children. And since the children were on their spring vacation, the family decided to enjoy lunch at the Orange Bowl, a popular pizza restaurant in 1975, Maryland. But two of the children, Catherine Lyon, age 10, and Sheila Lyon, age 12, wanted something else before lunch. They wanted to go see the Easter exhibit. Mary correctly guessed that more than half of the town would be at the event, so she agreed to let the girls go. She hugged them, kissed them goodbye, instructed them to be back home on or before 4 p.m. However, there was something that Mary didn't know at this time. This would be the last time that she would ever see her two girls. Where did Catherine and Sheila go? This is the story of two beautiful young girls who left home to see the Easter exhibits but never returned home to their homes. This is the story of one of the largest police investigations in Washington, a story of community, a once unsolved disappearance that turned into a murder case. Everything appeared to be normal until 4 p.m. when Catherine and Sheila didn't arrive home. At first, Mary wasn't so worried. It wasn't the first time that they arrived home a few minutes later when she was struck. By 5 p.m., anger had set in, and Mary couldn't believe that the little girls would disobey her so boldly. However, by 7 p.m., Mary could sense that something had gone wrong, and she decided to call the police. Almost immediately, a search for Catherine and Sheila began, and this would result in one of the biggest disappearance cases in the United States. To aid the investigation of Catherine and Sheila's disappearance, the police decided to release a timeline of the girls' movements on that day. According to this timeline, they left home at 11 a.m. and 12 noon. By 1 p.m., a child in the neighborhood reported seeing Catherine and Sheila talking to a man no one knew. The child recalled that the man and the girls were sitting outside the Orange Bowl restaurant. By 2 p.m., the brother of Catherine and Sheila, Jay Lyon, said he had seen his sisters at the Orange Bowl sharing the box of pizza. 30 minutes after this time, a friend of the girls told the police that she saw Catherine and Sheila walking down the street that directly led to their house. Despite the proximity of the mall and this route to the girls' house, they never made it home. Sergeant Rodney Engel of the Montgomery County Police Department was put on the case, and the investigator said in 1975 that this was the last spot he could play from. At this point, Sergeant Engel confirms that the police had no suspects, no evidence, and no motive. This was a bit weird considering he had spoken with parents, friends, neighbors, classmates, family friends, private detectives, psychics, and even strangers. Yet, nobody had anything that was helpful. It felt like Catherine and Sheila had just disappeared into thin air. What exactly happened to these two little girls, Catherine and Sheila? Where were they? Were they somewhere crying for help? Had they been kidnapped to another town for criminal reason? Or had something even more sinister happened to these children? It was just a little town hidden in plain sight. How did things suddenly become different? The investigator explored all of the theories that could explain the disappearance of Catherine and Sheila. It couldn't have been a kidnapping because kidnappers can afford it for asking for ransom. but there was no case in that. However, a few amateurs tried to extort the family for money, and John Lyon even had to deposit $10,000 in a bus station to Annapolis. But nobody ever came to pick up the money. The investigator also disregarded the chances that Catherine and Sheila were kidnapped for prostitution purposes, adding that they were too young for that. Some people used the opportunity to suggest that Catherine and her older sister had run away from home, but this wasn't even possible. It wasn't just because that they were too young, but because there was absolutely no reason for them to. Mary, the mother of Catherine and Sheila, further told the investigator that this wasn't a probable scenario, as her girls had shown no signs of wanting to leave. They never wanted to be away from their loving family. With every option out of the question, the Lyon family's greatest fear was brought to the fore. Did this mean that their two daughters
Hmm.
exposed? This was a sad but plausible scenario, but the investigator refused to acknowledge it. He said that even if the little girls had been married, there were chances that animals would have dug out the bodies. But this raised even more questions. What did the body pervert? What if they had been buried deep in the ground? After 5 years, Inglis had to resign and the case had to be passed to someone else. This cycle would continue in the Montgomery County Police Department. Various detectives would come and go, but the case remained unsolved. Before long, it turned into a pebble in the shoe of the police department. All through this time, the Lyon family learned to lead normal life, but they didn't stop wishing that one day, their Catherine and Sheila, now grown, would walk through the door, smiling, holding each other's hands, and running towards them. They never stopped hoping their daughters were alive somewhere, trying their best to come back home.
Turn to the experts at Ancliffe Windows and Doors. For your next home project, Ancliffe carries all the major brands and is Genesee County's authorized modern window and door specialist. Save time and money with Ancliffe's best price guarantee. Short road work, Highland Road at White Lake.
This is where the second story begins. In the same year, 1975, 18-year-old man Floyd Lee Welch went to the police to report the PFC. The young man, who had long hair and a mustache, told the police that he was a witness, saying that he had seen his sisters get abducted. But the police immediately dismissed his account as a lie. The officers believed that his overly detailed account felt suspicious, and they felt that he did that so he could collect a reward. Welch told the police that the man who kidnapped Catherine and Sheila walked the limb. This was good information at the time, especially because the crime suspect at the time walked with a limp. After more than 38 years, the case still remained unsolved. Detectives had given up and people no longer discussed the disappearance or potential murder. For a brief moment, it seemed like all hope was lost. It was a certain detective, Chris Humrod, who decided to give the case another shot. He went back to the archives and found a 6-page statement Welch had submitted to the police years ago. Seeing that this could be the start in finding answers, Detective Chris and another detective, Dave Davis, traveled all the way to Dover, Delaware to meet Welch. At this time, Welch was in prison at the end of a 33-year sentence for the molestation of a young girl. To make things even more complicated, as soon as the detectives meet Welch in Delaware, he says, "I know why you're here. You're here about those two missing kids." Of course they were, and he had been waiting his whole life for this. At first, Welch denied any involvement with the two sisters. He says, "I didn't kill anybody, I didn't break anybody, I didn't do nothing to those girls. I mean, I really don't have much to tell you." But Welch didn't stop talking. After what seemed like forever, he finally said something that could tie him to the case. He mentioned a certain Ray Molesky, a name that's been associated with the case for a very long time. Molesky died in prison in 2004 while serving sentences for the murder of his wife and son in the basement of his Suitland Road home. Turning himself into the police, he was sentenced, and this was where his connection to Lyon sisters surfaced. While in prison, Molesky bragged that he knew who kidnapped and killed Catherine and Sheila. Unfortunately, the greatest fear of Mary Lyon and her family was confirmed. Her two beautiful girls had died 38 years ago. In 2001, a tipster had also informed police that Molesky was responsible for the crime, and even though so many elements of the story were checked out, none led to the discovery of Catherine and Sheila's bodies or the truth about their killer. Molesky was contacted in 2001 in prison, and he admitted to knowing who had kidnapped and killed the girls. But he said he wouldn't say anything more unless he was shortlisted for a prison transfer. But Molesky's death in 2004 would take the mystery case back to where it all started and had no prime suspects. With Molesky's death, it was impossible to know if he had been a part of Catherine and Sheila's disappearance or if he had said all of this for his own advantage. There was also a particular sketch of interest. A witness in 1975 had given a vivid description of a man with long hair who was staring weirdly at the girls. At the end of the day, the sketch bore an uncanny resemblance to the mugshot of Welch. After a series of subsequent sessions with Welch, the convict finally admitted to helping abduct the Lyon sisters in 1975. Welch said that he believed that Catherine and Sheila had been kidnapped for sexual reasons, and investigators believed that he had also burned the body of one of the sisters. Even though he confessed to being a part, Welch maintained that he did not sexually assault Catherine or Sheila, nor was he directly involved in their murder. But the law disagreed. His admittance to their abduction directly links him to their unfortunate death. The court eventually sentenced Welch to another 48 years in prison with the option of becoming eligible for parole when his 80. However, his chances of parole are very slim, according to attorney Wes Nance. For the first time since anyone saw their innocent faces 40 years ago, we say they now know who kidnapped, molested, and murdered these two young sisters. This seemed like a perfect ending, but it wasn't. But then they still have no idea who else completed the crimes with. They still didn't find the bodies of their children for closure. After 42 years, the family could still not give their daughters the burial that they deserve. At the end of his sentencing, John Lyon, the father of Catherine and Sheila, said,
I just want to say thank you. And it's been a long, tough time. Another time. And we just wanted that.
Former Assistant Chief of Montgomery County Police Department, Russ Bramwell, sums it up in his words after the sentencing.
At the end of the day, from the beginning, I met with many of the officers involved in this case. And from the beginning, explained this wasn't going to happen. This is not a happy ending.
This is definitely not a happy ending story. But we are glad that someone is finally paying for the premature death of the Lyon sisters. We hope that Mary Lyon finds closure after this, and also we hope that Catherine Lyon and Sheila Lyon keep resting in peace.
That's a switcher, one big set. Open for dollars and 49 cents for big ones. And still the sizes of them extra large can go extra large. These sweatshirts, they sell for over $1,000 either. What are you looking for? Download our shop on CBS.
Hi, excuse me. Hello. What if I told you I could get you some money right now? I wouldn't believe you. Okay, let's get out your phone. Download the app called Bridget. All right, they're going to give you up to $250 in under 2 minutes with no credit check or interest. Oh my gosh, I got it. Hi, my name's Cassandra, and Bridget showed me the money.
In April 2019, the parents of A.J. Brown, Andrew Brown, and Joanne Cunningham had called 911 to report that A.J. was missing. The father sounded calm as he explained to the operator that he just got home and couldn't find his son. He further explained that he had checked the entire house, including the basement and the street in which they had lived. All of them were veiled. Immediately, police officers were dispatched to the scene. But what initially started with a search for a 5-year-old boy would soon quickly turn into a murder case. How did it happen so fast? That's what we're here to find out. AJ Crump was described as a happy child, one that everyone wanted to be around. He was young and full of life and very brilliant for his age, as his mother pointed out. But despite the charm that little AJ possessed, his family had verbally and physically abused him and denied him the care that he deserved. Since 2012, Joanne, his mother, had been under the radar of the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, all thanks to her drug use and child neglect. However, she was finally granted custody of AJ in 2015 after Joanne and Andrew had applied to drug treatment services, a factor that made them eligible to be parents. In February 2016, Joanne and Andrew were finally given legal custody, making them AJ's parents once again. The drug use between the parents would subside to a minimum for the next few years, and there would be no report of drug use at home until 2018. In 2018, the DCS will be contacted by an anonymous caller to report drug use in the home. The caller stated that Andrew and Joanne were howling and heroin addicts, but unfortunately there was no investigation done to verify this claim. The same year, a social worker would discover that AJ was suffering abuse in his own home. His arm slightly bruised and his face containing a number of odd scars. At the same time, authorities had found Joanne passed out in her car, and it was clear that she had relapsed on drugs. It is important to note that AJ had a younger sibling who lived in the same house with their parents. After an interview with Joanne, the investigator admitted that there were no signs of maltreatment and that the boys were doing just fine. But it would become impossible to deny episodes of abuse in December 2018 when a police officer found a large bruise on AJ's hip. While this was clearly an episode of maltreatment, Joanne managed to convince the authorities that AJ had been injured by the dog. The line of the boy was also corroborated with, mostly out of fear. Later, AJ would tell a doctor, maybe someone hit me with a belt, maybe mommy didn't mean to hurt me. However, both kids were released back to the family based on the fact that father Andrew would be more present at home. Unfortunately, things eventually got out of hand. That lands us back to April 2019, when Andrew picked up his phone to inform the police that he couldn't find his son. Immediately, a search began for little AJ. Where could he have gone? Did he run away from home, or did someone kidnap AJ right in his own home? Andrew said the last time he saw AJ was around 9 p.m., which was just around his bedtime. Due to the seriousness and the urgency of the situation, the FBI were called in to assist. To be able to understand the motive behind the disappearance of AJ, the police decided to begin their search for the family home in Crystal Lake. The home was unfit for living as it had garbage everywhere, and some of the floors had been ripped up. Fortunately, AJ's little brother wasn't being neglected or abused at the time of the investigation. But AJ's disappearance remained a mystery. Where had the little boy gone? Was AJ in trouble? Had he escaped the home due to the abuse that he suffered? Or perhaps the worst fear? Was he dead? 3 days after the call that involved the police, their worst fear was confirmed. AJ's body was discovered in a shallow grave, wrapped in plastic, with straws of hay placed over his body. Investigators found the body of AJ at Woodstock, Illinois, which was around 10 miles away from their family's home. The parents were arrested and immediately charged to court for the murder of their own son, AJ Crump.
If you're a petty part, Crystal Lake Police Department reports that he will to the believed to be the body of Andrew AJ Craig. Investigators hopefully will take a look to see AJ's body buried in shell grave wrapped in plastic in a rope area of Woodstock, Illinois.
According to the investigators that were assigned to the case, all found that news on the night of April 15th, when AJ had soiled his clothes in bed. This had infuriated his mother, who decided to punish him in her own way. As punishment, she forced him awake and made him take a cold shower. Remember, it was midnight and it was also freezing cold. But this wasn't all. Joanne repeatedly beat him as he took his bath and shouted at her. Later in the court, Andrew would confess saying that Joanne hit AJ's head with a shower head, a blow that led to the young boy losing his life. This is because the autopsy of AJ's body would reveal that he suffered multiple injuries to his head and torso, and these injuries were so bad they caused his brain to swell. The autopsy also revealed that the blood of AJ had aspirated into his lungs, making him unable to breathe. Unfortunately, all of these beatings happened while the child was placed under a freezing shower, shivering to his death. Andrew wanted to minimize his involvement in the murder, but he wasn't as smart as the investigators. On the night that AJ died, investigations showed that Joanne had used Andrew's phone to search for how to conduct CPR on the child. Later on, a gruesome video will be discovered on Andrew's phone. Little AJ appeared in the video with bruises all over his body. Despite his plea, Joanne repeatedly hits him for letting himself. In another recording, AJ can be heard saying that he no longer wants to be a part of the family, but his mother wouldn't do it. Where he would go, she would. She even tells him that his father would pick her and his little brother over him, a statement which definitely crushed little AJ. Later in the same recording, Joanne would ask AJ why he wants bad people to hurt her. Candid and honest, AJ responded in his innocent, childish voice, "So I don't ever see you again." The video was discovered when Andrew signed a consent form that allowed the police officer to check his phone. Interestingly, his phone also contained text messages between Andrew and Joanne, and in one of them there was a shopping list which included gloves, a duct tape, and air freshener. As regards to the video that was shared with the court documents read, AJ is seen to be naked except for some small bandages around both wrists encircling his hips. AJ is seen to be holding an ice pack to his face, and when he removes it, he is seen to have deep red bruising around his eyes. AJ's father tried to downplay his involvement in the murder of his own son, but later in the trial it was discovered that rather than call the authorities after AJ became unconscious, Andrew had stashed the body of the 5-year-old and placed it in the basement. Then, when the stench from AJ's body could no longer be hidden, he put the body in his truck and buried it in the empty lot in a shallow grave. Till the day of his death, AJ lived in constant pain and neglect. When the police visited the family's home for the investigative reasons, they reported that the house reeked of feces, urine, and unpacked dirt. His father wasn't any different from Joanne. He repeatedly tried to deny his direct involvement in the murder of AJ. The evidence leveled against him could not be denied. He was just as evil and neglectful towards AJ. In fact, the decision to put the 5-year-old under a running shower was the idea of none other than Andrew. He was opposed to Joanne's more violent form of punishment. In court, Andrew would later plead guilty to the charges of involuntary manslaughter and concealment of homicidal death. After prosecutors agreed to drop the first-degree murder charges, Andrew was sentenced to 30 years in prison and would become eligible for parole only after 19 years. AJ's mother, Joanne Cunningham, also pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to 35 years in prison. After her sentencing, Joanne's motherly side finally came to the fore.
I have the privilege of having AJ as a son. When I home, it's one of the happiest days in my life. I love him. I miss him.
You also murdered him.
But bad. My children are the greatest gift God can ever be given. They are my whole friends. They're the reason I breathe. Anyone who truly knows me can see how much I love being a mother more than anything in the world. Being a mother defines me.
In her closing remarks, she told the entire court that she would give her life to have AJ come back to life. But the reality is dark, sad, and cannot be changed. No matter how great her pain was, she would forever live with the conviction that she murdered her own child, beautiful 5-year-old AJ. The greatest tragedy was thinking of all the things that AJ could have turned out to be, and all the beautiful things that he would never do. Make his young and peaceful soul find rest. On August 7th, 2014, a taxi driver pulled up to the St. Regis Resort in Bali. An attractive young American couple leaving the luxury hotel piled their large suitcase into the cab and asked the driver to wait while they checked out. He complied, probably hoping for a nice tip. However, as time went by and the young couple failed to return to the cab, the driver eventually opened his trunk to remove their belongings. That's when he saw blood in his trunk, and it was oozing slowly out of his suitcase. The cab driver called the police, and when they opened the suitcase, they found the body of a woman inside. The young couple was nowhere to be found. Sheila von Giesmack was a wealthy woman. She had been married to renowned composer James L. Mack, who sued a cruise line after being injured on a ship, winning more than $1 billion to add to an already lucrative lifestyle. When James Mack passed away in 2006, he left behind a grieving widow, a lot of money, and an 11-year-old daughter, Heather. Heather and her mother had a tempestuous relationship with allegations of abuse on both sides. Heather moved out in 2014, and Sheila decided to take her daughter on a luxury 2-week vacation in an attempt to heal their relationship. Later, Sheila's friends would say that they warned her not to take her daughter out of the country, where they thought that Heather was unstable. Nevertheless, the two arrived at the St. Regis Resort, and the trip started out wonderfully. Though, to be fair, the hotel has a private beach, world-class food, multiple swimming pools, and rooms starting at $690 per night. So it's kind of hard to imagine anyone having a bad time. By the way, please be sure to like and subscribe so that one day I might be able to record like 14 minutes at this place. I'm not kidding, it literally has an in-house butler. Heather and Sheila's trip started out beautifully, but then something odd started to happen. Clothes disappearing for hours at a time. Finally, Sheila woke up one night to find her daughter missing. When she went to the front desk to ask if they had seen Heather leave, the front desk told Sheila that her daughter was probably staying in the other room. What other room? Sheila asked. Why, the other room that had been charged to her credit card, of course. That's when Sheila found out that Heather had invited her boyfriend, 21-year-old Tommy Schaefer, to Bali. Heather had also charged his first-class flight, which cost $12,000, and the room to her mom's credit card. Tommy and Heather were asleep in the room, which had already cost Sheila more than $1,000. Sheila was furious. She and her daughter screamed at each other in the lobby of the St. Regis, and it sounds like the hotel staff was pretty taken back. One of the hotel staff later told the Daily Mail, the mother had all the appearances of one of our upmarket guests, but the behavior she and her daughter showed did not belong in our hotel. This did not bode well for my future at the St. Regis, given that I would have to rob a liquor store to afford it. Now, here's where the story gets a little tricky. There were 2 different versions of what exactly happened next, how premeditated it was, who said what, and who was actually. And at the end of the day, a lot of the stories contradict each other, and none of them come from the mouth of the victim. But here's what we do know for sure. On the morning of August 7th, Sheila, her daughter Heather, and Tommy got to a fight in Sheila's hotel room. By the time the fight was over, Sheila had been beaten to death with a heavy glass and metal tree pole. The couple packed Sheila's body into a large suitcase, which involved breaking several of her bones and bending her to quote one police officer, like an accordion. Then the lovers brought the suitcase down to the cab. Here's where their problem started. I mean, aside from being murdered. Tommy and Heather went to the front desk and requested access to Sheila's safety deposit box, which contained some valuables and their passports. However, hotel staff were under strict instruction not to give anyone besides Sheila access to the box. Not knowing what else to do, Heather and Tommy snuck out the back door of the hotel and hopped a different cab, hoping that their American accents and ID would be enough to get them on a plane. They struck out. Now knowing that they were stuck in Indonesia for the foreseeable future, Tommy and Heather went to a nearby motel to lay low. They were caught by police the next day. Eventually, I'm going to tell you a sympathetic version of events. A version of events told by Heather that described an abusive mother in self-defense gone wrong. But, to be fair, before I tell you that version of the story, let's go through all the other stories that were pulled out first. Story 1. Heather and Tommy claim that an armed alien had killed Sheila and taken the two of them hostage. They escaped and head out in a motel for some reason. The
ABC professionals customize and install systems, anything featuring Google Nest products for any type of home. So you have a home with no worries. Brought to you by Elite.
That story was shot down pretty fast. For one thing, the St. Regis had CCTV and the armed gang clearly didn't exist. So, Heather switched it up to Story 2. Heather told her mother that she was pregnant. Sheila flew into a rage and attacked her daughter. Tommy hit Sheila with a fruit basket in order to protect his pregnant girlfriend. This story was also debunked because Sheila's emails clearly showed that she'd known about a pregnancy for months. This brings us to Story 3. Sheila went wild for no apparent reason and called Tommy a racist slur. Tommy hit her in anger. This story was blown apart when the cuts between Tommy and Heather revealed that the two had been talking about killing Sheila for some time. If right now you're thinking, well, we all joke about killing our moms sometimes, then A, you should probably stop, and B, you should know that Tommy did send several messages back and forth with his cousin Robert Biggs in Chicago, and the two of them debated the best way to kill Sheila. So, spur of the moment self-defense looks a little less likely. When the case went to trial, one thing is made clear. Whoever might have done the planning, it was Tommy who actually wielded the murder weapon. He was given 18 years in the Indonesian prison. Heather was sentenced to 10 years. Later, Robert Bibbs, Tommy's cousin, was sentenced in the Chicago court to 9 years jail for his work advising Tommy on how to commit murder. Now that Heather and Tommy were both in prison, yet another story came out. This was story number 4.
Came the Valley, my mom found out. I killed myself. Then I told Tommy that if he did not help me clean the room and get rid of the body, I would tell the police that he didn't. I would pay money to get him arrested.
Heather claimed that she had stolen Tommy's phone and texted back and forth, setting him up for the murder so that she could blackmail him into helping her. Why, do you ask?
When I was 10, my mother killed my father in a hotel in Athens, Greece. 2 weeks before I came to Valley, I found out she killed my father. And I made it up in my heart, in my mind, my soul, blood, my oxygen running into my body. But I wanted to kill my mother.
This story blew up around the world. But like all the stories before, it too was quickly debunked. Tommy Schaefer stood by his guilty plea, reiterating from prison that he had been the one to kill Sheila. The messages between Tommy and his cousin confirmed that. And the claim that this was a revenge killing is a little hard to swallow given the fact that Heather's father hadn't died under suspicious circumstances. He died from a blood clot in his lung. Heather gave birth to her daughter Stella in prison. Under Indonesian law, she was allowed to keep Stella with her for 2 years before the toddler was given over to a guardian. Stella and Heather will be back together when Heather's prison sentence ends. Tommy Schaefer has become a born-again Christian. He has baptized more than 50 men in prison and says that he is not actively seeking parole. Tommy recently told a reporter from the New Zealand Herald that he knows he is guilty and deserves his punishment, and that he will do his best to serve God in prison. The only person that Tommy does not seem to have any love for is his former girlfriend, Heather. Tommy says that while he takes responsibility for his own actions, he nevertheless feels that he was manipulated by Heather, whom he describes to be as a black hole and a sociopath. Heather, meanwhile, is now sticking with her fifth and most convincing story. She tells reporters that her tape video confession was a lie and that she was blackmailed into reporting it by Tommy, though why he would do so while maintaining his guilt is unclear. Heather now claims that she endured years of physical and verbal abuse from her mother, Sheila, and that the night of Bali was simply the last in a long history of attacks. Heather claims that Tommy was indeed defending her that night from an alcoholic and severely abusive mother. In spite of his hatred for Heather, Tommy backs up the claim that Sheila was abusive. He claims that he saw Sheila attack her daughter and that she was often drunk. Police records show that before Sheila's death, police had been called to the Vaughan Lee Smack House 86 times over the past decade. Neighbors say that mother and daughter frequently had screaming fights and would call the cops on each other. Sheila's friends say that she was a good mother and that it was Heather who was abusive and unbalanced. During one of their fights, Heather pushed Sheila and broke her arm. On the other hand, Heather shows scars on her arms and says that her mother used to put cigarettes out on her skin. Whatever the true motivation was, we will probably never know. Heather has told too many stories to be a believable witness. Bystanders and friends are all biased towards one or the other. And Sheila Von Wiesmann, socially millionaire, widow, friend, and mother, will never speak again. A beautiful family with 6 adopted children and 2 mothers in a loving relationship. A Facebook and an Instagram account filled with idyllic photos of their children learning, traveling, smiling together, and matching outfits. Meet the Hart family, a family who seemed to be filled with love and laughter until they shocked the world with an unthinkable taste of vanillicide. It was 3:38 p.m. on Monday, March 26, 2018, when a 911 call came in from Juan Creek Crossing on California Scenic Highway 1. German tourists were enjoying the iconic view when something jarring caught their eye. A gold GMC Yukon XL was upside down in the Pacific Ocean at the bottom of a rocky cliff. When authorities arrived on the scene, they found the body of Jennifer Hart at the wheel of the SUV. The body of her partner, Sarah Hart, was pinned between the roof and the back seats. The bodies of 3 children, 19-year-old Marcus, 14-year-old Jeremiah, and 14-year-old Abigail, were also found at the crash scene along with Jennifer and Sarah. It was on that afternoon that 2 searches began. The first search was for the other 3 children. It was assumed that they were in the car and had been swept out to sea, but no one could say for certain until their bodies were found. The second search was for answers. Everyone who knew the Hart family wanted to understand how a family who looked so happy in photos online and appeared so very normal at music festivals with their crowd could end up driving straight off a 100-foot cliff into the ocean. At first, the Hart family's friends and online followers defended the family, saying this surely must have been an accident. There had to be some explanation. Crash analysts were no skin marks at the scene. The SUV had to break it off before trying
Fuck you laying down like that. I'm gonna doze off while I play.
Soon enough, dark details about the family began to emerge. When all the puzzle pieces were finally put together, they revealed a disturbing saga of abuse and neglect. The Harts had removed their children from public school and moved from place to place in an effort to evade child protective services in multiple states. How could Jennifer and Sarah have hidden the painful truth about their home life from public view? How did they fool so many people into believing they were the perfect family? And most importantly, how did Child Protective Services fail to help these 6 children? The answers to these questions came together really quickly once everyone started talking to one another about the small details they noticed over the years. Jen and Sarah first became licensed foster parents in 2005. They had one 15-year-old foster daughter. Jen and Sarah told the teenage girl she could live with them and be the older sister to their soon-to-be adopted children. Friends have said that the couple frequently complained about their foster daughter, claiming she did things like eat out of the trash. The foster daughter, now an adult, has stated their claims were untrue. Once the first 3 adopted siblings arrived at the Hart home in March 2006, Jen and Sarah decided to abandon their foster daughter without any warning. They dropped her off from the therapist appointment and never returned for her, leaving her to be placed in another foster home. The adoptive children who first arrived in their home were Marcus, Hannah, and Abigail. They were ages 7, 4, and 2 and came from Texas to the Hart home in Minnesota. It wasn't until 2008 first hints of possible abuse of neglect started to filter into authorities. Several complaints were made to CPS by the children's schools. Hannah and Abigail were both seen beating out of trash cans after school. They had also complained of bruises on their abdomens. The children told their teachers that Jen hit them with a belt. An investigation was opened, but nothing ever came of it. Jen and Sarah told social workers that the children had gotten the bruises accidentally and that they were eating from the trash due to food insecurity issues left over from prior trauma before being adopted. The staff at the school didn't believe these excuses, but they soon stopped reporting things to the authorities and feared the children would be further punished at home. This was the first time that the children slipped through the cracks. The abuse continued. Sarah and Jen withdrew the 3 children from school and began homeschooling them for a short time, until the adoption agency required them to have the children in public schools in order to finalize the adoptions of the next sibling set to enter the Hart home, Devontae, Jeremiah, and Sierra. In September 2010, the school again reported Jen and Sarah for abuse. Abigail had bruises all over her stomach, back, and buttocks. She told her teachers that Jen spanked her with a closed fist because she had a penny in her pocket that Jen thought she had stolen. When CPS interviewed the children, Abigail said that being grounded meant you had to stay in bed all day and miss lunchtime. Abigail was 6 years old at the time and only appeared to be the size of a young toddler. During a mandated doctor visit, the doctor noted her size, but Jen and Sarah explained that Abigail was just naturally small, saying they didn't know her family's medical history. Despite Abigail blaming Jen for the abuse, Sarah claimed that she was the one who had spanked the little girl, stating she bent Abigail over the bathtub and spanked her repeatedly until it had gotten out of control. Charges were filed in court against Sarah for domestic assault and malicious punishment of a child. During the death investigation, a former friend of Jen's brought an email for 2010 to light. Jen told the friend that Sarah had said some hurtful things. Jen went on to say, "For quite some time, I have felt very underappreciated and taken for granted in our relationship, and at times unloved," she wrote. "While I know deep in my heart how much she loves me, she is just horrible about showing it. I felt that I had been raising the kids on my own," she added. "I need a break." What was actually happening in their household? Every couple experiences relationship troubles, but in hindsight,
We're gonna end up starting a civil war.
more serious going on. Parenting children with backgrounds in trauma like the 6 kids the Harts adopted is no easy task. The behavior issues can be exhausting and draining to manage on a daily basis. Pressure between the 2 women was beginning to build. In April 2011, Sarah pled guilty to domestic assault. She was given a suspended jail sentence, probation, a $300 fine, and ordered to take a skill building class by CPS, the goal of ending physical discipline in the home. It seems as if the children were no longer slipping through the cracks with authorities, but in actuality, things were still amiss in the Hart family home. Despite the abuse on record, the Harts were still able to finalize the adoption of the second sibling set. Levante, Jeremiah, and Sierra were now permanent members of the Hart family. Jen and Sarah quickly withdrew all 6 children from public school. They never attended public school again. As soon as Sarah completed the terms of her probation, she moved from Minnesota to Westland, Oregon, and took a job with Nichols clothing store. A few months later, Jen followed with the 6 children. While Sarah was away, a family friend named Alexandra Angelopoulos spent 2 weeks helping Jen with the children. Initially, she thought Jennifer Hart was a loving mother. However, after spending time in their home, she became concerned. Alexandra stated to Child Protective Services that love and compassion for the children was largely absent and that they were frequently even harshly punished for common childlike and adolescent behaviors, such as laughing too loudly. The offending child wouldn't be allowed to speak for an entire day or be forced to stare at the wall for an extended period of time. She also said Jen often withheld meals and the children appeared constantly hungry. By this point, alarm bells should have been ringing for authorities. Something was clearly very, very wrong at home. Caseworkers interviewed the children separately. The kids gave the workers nearly identical answers that were obviously pre-rehearsed. Child Protective Services ordered the children to see a doctor who noted their heights and weights were so low that they weren't even on the growth charts for the children's ages. Since the children appeared to have no other health concerns aside from being small, their case was closed. During the following years, the family traveled around and attended multiple music festivals where they met many new friends who adored the unique memory and loved Jen's idyllic and inspirational Facebook posts. Family and friends who criticized Jen's parenting were estranged by the couple, with Sarah following along behind Jen. The family also participated in social justice protests. In 2014, a photo of Devontae hugging a police officer went viral, bringing a lot of attention to the Hart family. This led to another move, this time over the state line into Washington, with a final cracks formed in the family breakdown. The Harts moved in next door to a retired couple named Dana and Bruce DeCault in 2017. Everything was quiet from the Harts' home next door until one night at 1:30 in the morning. Their doorbell rang and Bruce answered it. Hannah was at the door. She had twigs in her hair and her front teeth were missing. Hide me, she pleaded. They fastened her belt. She ran into the DeCalb's home, up the stairs, and put in the bedroom where Dana was sleeping. You gotta help. Please protect me. Don't make me go back, she said, waking Dana. They're racist and they abuse us. Jen came over a few minutes later and forced Hannah to return home. The next morning, the DeCalb's doorbell rang again at the ungodly hour of 6:30 a.m. It was the Hart family. Hannah brought the DeCalb's a handwritten apology letter.
Okay, I'm getting some Yu-Gi-Oh, so I'm going to take a break from this game right now and go stream some Master Duel.
Whenever his parents weren't paying attention. Dana and Bruce were worried, but also afraid to cause drama by reporting their neighbors to Child Protective Services. When Devontae pleaded with Dana not to tell his mother, she asked him which mother he meant. He explained that there was Mom and Sarah, that Mom was responsible for the abuse. Sarah didn't used to go along with it, Devontae told Miss DeCall, but was now tolerating Jennifer's behavior.
About a week ago or so, one of the children came over and started asking for food. And went on, a period of time until we finally determined that he was